What's good, BitRushers? My name's Kyler and this is BitRush Crypto. This is going to be part 2 of a 3-part series on how to create a random generated 10,000 art collection, how to build a smart contract and deploy that smart contract to the blockchain, how to verify that contract, and build a front-end minter. Today's going to be the second part, as I said, so we're going to go over everything from hosting your art files and building and deploying your smart contract on both a local server and the test Rinkeby network. If you guys need to go back and watch part 1, just pause this one and do that. Otherwise, I'm going to assume that you guys are good to go. You already have your art files built and you're ready to launch your smart contract. Before we get into the video, make sure you guys give this a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel for future content. You can find links in the description below for my Telegram chat group if you want to get at me, and any of the other links regarding this project in today's video. All that sounds good, so here we go. Alright guys, welcome back to part 2 of this tutorial. In this video, we're going to go ahead and get everything covered from putting our information, our JSON data, and our actual JPEGs or our PNG files onto a server and storing them. And then we're going to launch a smart contract and mint those NFTs from the server. I just want to say that I'm not really going to be covering all the different options for where to store your NFT images. And what I'm going to do is just the easiest, most basic way to get it done. And that's just storing it on a regular server. However, this is also the worst option. If you're a real project and you're serious about doing an NFT project, do yourself a favor and do a little bit of research and figure out how to store these images on the blockchain on IPFS. Because if my server were to go down, these images would go down and technically the NFT would still be there, but the image associated with that NFT would go down if the files are lost off the server. So some of this stuff is pretty technical, guys, and that's why I'm just showing you the easiest way, because I think for the average person, they can figure out how to get it done with a regular web server, and then at a later date, as they're testing and doing things like that, they can figure out how to handle it in the proper way, and it'll just be easier for you guys to have something rather than nothing. So here we go. We're going to come back to that build folder where we had all of our files, and we're just going to click on the very top file and then scroll all the way down to the very bottom where we see number 100, and we're going to shift click and then right click, and we're going to do send to compressed zip folder. Okay, so I'm going to name it 100, and just to be nice and easy, I'm going to copy that back into my downloads. Okay, so we're going to come to whatever web host you're using on the FTP or file manager, and we're going to navigate to the folder that you designated as your base URI. All right, and so from here we're going to upload. We're going to choose that zip file we just created. I named mine 100. You guys can name yours and save it as whatever you want. It doesn't really matter, just so you know what it is. Okay, now we can come back. And we now see our zip file here. We can click on it, right click, and we can extract. We're going to extract it all right here and click extract files. It's going to give you a list so you can verify that you have everything. Looks good. 99. Actually, we didn't get number 100, or did we? It's probably at the top because it's in numerical. Yep, so 100 is at the top. Okay, so now we can verify these are actually on the web, and let's do that by navigating to the proper folder using our web address here at the top. So ours is going to be bit-rush.com/pumpkins, and then we're going to type in the first one, so it's going to be 1.png. or whatever you guys named yours, if you named them something different or whatever. And so there we go. We can now see that file. And if we get rid of the PNG, it should load up just the JSON data. Nope, so that's not working. Let's try .json and see if it loads. There it is. Okay, so the reason why we don't want to do this, not only is it not actually on the blockchain and stored forever, but obviously if we were minting and doing a public mint and we had all this information, someone could find that information before they minted and just search through and see all the names of the files and all the JSON data, which is why a lot of times projects will do a post reveal, right? So they're not going to upload these until after everyone has been minted. So maybe they'll put like a holder, like their logo or whatever, as all these files, and it'll just say like not minted or whatever. Be like a moving GIF. A lot of people do some different stuff like that. And then after the mint has been completed, or after a certain number of hours, they upload the ones that have been minted. So there's a lot of different ways to handle that as well, guys. But just want to, point that out to everyone, that if you do use a normal server like this, just a web server, and you upload all of your files before mint, people can access them and see what's there. So I highly recommend looking into putting your images and your metadata on the blockchain using IPFS. And maybe at a later date we'll cover that in another video, but for right now I just want to give you guys the basics again, get you guys started. I think this is going to be a great like building block base layer for a lot of you guys to just really launch your art. Okay guys, for our smart contract, we are again going to be pulling from the Hashlips GitHub repo. Okay, so again, go over to his YouTube, give him a sub, give him a like his repo. Thank you Hashlips for this excellent stuff that he's given us here. So for this one, we're going to come to example NFT minter, and under contracts we are going to look for the smart contract.sol. okay, so that's going to be the file that we want right there. Okay, the next thing we're going to want to do is to come over to remix.ethereum.org. And this is basically the place that we're going to use to compile our code and to actually launch it onto the blockchain. Okay, so if this is your first time here, you won't really have anything, but what we want to do is just create a new workspace, and I've done that. I've created the test pumpkins. Now that we're in that right there, we can then create a contract. And our contract here, we're just going to call NFT.sol. You guys can name it whatever you want, doesn't really matter. Once you have this created and you have an NFT.sol, it's a blank file. We're going to come back to the GitHub and we're going to copy everything from line 1 all the way down to the bottom, guys, and just come all the way to 118 and Control C and back over to Remix and Control V to paste that in, and come back to the top and make sure you have everything starting with the license all the way down to the bottom. And if that all looks good, we're basically good to go, guys. So the next thing we want to do is come over to the sidebar here, and this is going to be your compiler, and just make sure your compiler is higher level than what you have here. So right here it says program solidity is 8.0, and this is using the compiler 8.7. so just make sure your compiler is a higher version than the Solidity version that you're using. We're going to do auto compile, and we're going to do enable optimization. And if you guys want, you can do hide warnings. We're just going to leave that so it gives us any warnings that we're going to see. And from here, we're basically good to go, guys. I know what you're thinking is that seemed way too damn easy. There's only a few things that we need to change. It is that easy also. We're going to come up here and we can see that it says cost 100 ether. So this is where we're going to change the amount of ether, and this basically just adds on the decimals automatically, so you guys don't need to, so you guys can do that. For me, we're just going to do like 0.5. Okay, so we're going to only charge half of Ethereum for ours, but you guys can change that to whatever you like. The next thing is the max supply. So again, we only created 100, so we're going to change ours down to 100. After that, we're going to change this right here is going to be the amount that you can mint maximum. So by default, it's set to 20. So if you want people to be able to mint at max 20 NFTs, you can leave that as is. The next thing right here is this contract is set to automatically mint on launch into the owner's address 20 NFTs. So the first 20 NFTs automatically get minted. If you don't want that to happen, we can change that to whatever number you want or put 0. The other thing is if you change the number of mint, say we drop the mint number to 10, then we obviously wouldn't be able to mint 20 into our wallet. So we can only mint the amount of the max mint here. Again, I'm going to change that down to 10. And then I'm going to just change this right here again to go with that. So instead of minting 20, we're going to mint 10 into our wallet as soon as we launch this contract. As the owner, this gives us 10 without having to pay the fee or the gas fee. It's going to be all part of the gas fee of launching the contract, deploying it onto the network. And that's pretty much all I'm going to change, guys. Honestly, that really is it. You guys can change the name of the contract also right here. So that's the other thing. We want to just change that. I'm just going to change it to Punk Test, okay? So everything else looks good. You guys can mess with this if you want, but again, if you want to go check out Hashlips, you guys can go over there and he'll run you through line by line coding this entire contract so you guys know what every single line of it does. But I figure for most of you, you want to just know what the things you need to change are. We need to change the amount of Ethereum that it costs to mint, the max supply, the total number that we can actually mint, and how many we're sending to our wallet. We want to change the name, and that's basically everything, guys, okay? So if all that information looks good, we're ready to compile. So just click that button and it should compile. We should be auto-compiling anyway, but I like to just compile it again just to make sure. There we go, looks like it's done compiling. Now if we click the tab below here, we have the information to deploy. So by default, we're going to just use the JavaScript testnet. This is going to be a local testnet using JavaScript, and it gives you a bunch of test wallets with 100 Ether in them. Okay, so if everything looks good and we want to deploy this contract, what we can come down to is our contract right here and choose the contract. So for us, it's going to be this Punk Test NFT.sol. Next, we want to click this little button that drops down and gives us the information that we want to type in. So there's a few options here for you guys, and let me just see if I can scroll that up so you can see it a little bit better. There we go. So we're going to name our contract again. It's going to be Test Punks or Test Pumpkins, and the string. So this is going to be the symbol, like the the ticker symbol for your NFT. So if you guys want a ticker, mine's going to be Punk. And then the next thing right here is going to be your base URI. Okay, so this is going to be what we put in earlier, over in our Visual Studio Code. So if we want, we can come back to Visual Studio and we can just double check that to make sure we're using the right thing. So let me close all these layers. Config, we had it at https bitrush.com/pumpkin. So I'm going to just actually copy it right from here so I know it's the same and paste that in. You guys can type it if you want. That's basically everything, okay? So if all that information looks good, go ahead and transact. We're now seeing down below here that we successfully deployed to our local blockchain. Very good, guys. And so now if I come down below here, it's hard to see behind me here, but there's the contract, and we can click on that contract and it opens up all the information and functions on the contract, okay? So we can mint, we can approve, we can pause the contract, we can remove whitelist, we can renounce ownership, we can do transfers, we can set the base URI. So if we wanted to change the base URI, this is another thing that you guys can do on launch. If you're doing a reveal, you can have it set to one thing to start, and then afterward we can change it to the proper art where it is stored. So different options there. We can change the cost, we can change all the information, basically the maximum mint, we can transfer all that kind of stuff, okay? But what we want to do, if we come all the way down to the bottom here, is we can actually check the total supply. So there should be 10. So there we go. It says 10, so that's good. Everything looks good here. If we want, we can do a mint if you guys wanted. So let's just do that real quick as a test. So you're going to need your address. So copy this Ethereum address that you're using as the test address. and then we're going to come down to mint, and we're going to paste our address in that we want to mint to, and then we're going to do the number. So in our case, let's just do 5. Let's try to mint 5 more into our same wallet. Transact, it looks good. And now when we come back down and we can do total supply, and it should say 15, so we just minted them. So everything's looking good here, guys. I hope that was simple enough for you guys. I know when I saw this, I was amazed. I was like, wow, he provided this contract. All I really need to do is change a couple of things and launch it. I need to make a video about this and get this out here. So that's basically everything. From here, we're going to now launch onto the testnet, and we can get a test OpenSea account, and we can actually start messing with these things and finalize our testing before we go live on main Ethereum network. If you guys are enjoying the video so far and you've learned something, make sure you smash the thumbs up on this tutorial. If you haven't already, do consider subscribing to the channel. Okay, so to deploy to the testnet, we're going to use Rinkeby, and we're going to need to get some test ETH on the Rinkeby network. So to do that, we're just going to search for a Rinkeby faucet. I was able to find faucet.rinkeby.io. And what we need to do is just navigate to our MetaMask wallet. Make sure we're in the proper account that we want to use for this transaction. We're going to come to the top where it says Ethereum mainnet. We're going to come down to the one we want here, the Rinkeby test network. We're going to copy our address. It's going to be the same no matter what network we're on, but we just want to make sure we're on the proper network here. And then we're going to paste that in and give me Ether. Let's do 18. Make sure we have a ton. So I'll be honest with you guys, I don't think this faucet worked. I had some ETH from another in another wallet that was on the Rinkeby network I sent over to mine. But do a little bit of research. I'm sure you guys can find a faucet somewhere that works. I don't want to spend too much time on it. Just make sure you guys have some test Ethereum on the Rinkeby network in the wallet that you're looking to use. Next, coming back to Remix, I changed a few things since we're going to launch on the actual test network. I changed down the amount of Ether to just 0.01 to mint, and other than that, everything else looks good. So if everything here is the same and you guys are ready to go, we can come back down to our launch here, make sure we're on the proper wallet. I think that's actually a different one, so I am going to connect. So let's just connect up. I had this other wallet connected, so I'm just going to click the proper wallet to connect. If you only have one wallet, don't worry about it, guys. But right here, I can now see the proper wallet I want to use, which is 0xB28. And we can see I have 5 test Ethereum there. Everything else looks good from the last time we launched this, guys. I'm going to just type in test P as the name, TP as the symbol, and I have my URI address that we had set before, the bit-rush.com/pumpkin. So everything looks good to me, guys. So just double check, verify all your information, and here we go. Let's transact. It's going right now. We're going to wait just a few minutes here because it does take a second on the network. Obviously going to have to sign the transaction, pay the gas fee, and then it's just going to be a few minutes to have the miners pick up that transaction and write it to the blockchain. So we'll update you guys in just a sec. There we go. Looks like that transaction has been confirmed. Now let's come back to our MetaMask wallet. And in our MetaMask wallet here, we can see the contract deployment. If we click into that transaction and click the arrow, we can now view over on Etherscan. And here we can see that it is successful. We minted those 10 tokens into our wallet, and we successfully deployed this contract onto the test network Rinkeby. One important thing to note here is going to be our contract address, so we can copy that here, or if we want, just click directly into it. Now we can see that first transaction, and we can see our token here, so let's click on the token tracker. And from here, it's going to show you all the transactions that have been happening. And obviously, it's only the 10 from the mint, but you can come back here and check later on if you need to see anything. We have the holders, which is going to show you everyone. It's going to just be our address for right now because we just minted into our wallet. And again, to contract, we can read and write on the contract. However, you're not going to be able to do that just yet because we have not verified our source code. I'm going to come back at a later point in the video and show you guys how to do that. But for right now, let's just leave it as is and continue to test and check out our contract and our NFTs we just created over on the test network on OpenSea. Okay, so now we can come over to testnet.opensea.io. This is essentially OpenSea except for the test network. So if you guys are launching test NFTs, you can check them out over here. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to do everything just like we would on a normal smart contract to test it out. So first thing we want to do is come over to our profile. And in our profile, we can now come down and see that we have those 10 NFTs that we just recently minted in our wallet. Let's click into the first one. And we can see here that our information is correct. This collection has no description yet. Contact the owner. Okay, actually, we didn't put our description in, I guess. Oh, you know why, guys? Because the image isn't here either. We need to just refresh our metadata. So I was going to tell you, we have to refresh our metadata. I thought the description would show up automatically, but I guess it doesn't. So just come to the top here where it says refresh and click that, and it's going to queue you to be refreshed. And sometimes it takes a couple minutes and you just need to wait for that data to load and then refresh the page. So while we're waiting for that, let's go to our collections. This is going to be the name of our collection here, Test P. And we can see a bunch of these pumpkins now. Let's click in and just refresh them. Refresh that metadata. Refresh that metadata. Okay, so while we're letting that data refresh, let's go ahead and edit our collection. To do that, we come to the top and just My Collection. And from here, we're going to click on Import an Existing Smart Contract. And we want live on testnet. And here we're going to paste in the address from that contract. So remember I said this was going to be important and we'd need it later. So just come back over here and we can simply copy it if you didn't have it. And again, you guys can find that easily on Etherscan. Just search your wallet for that and paste that contract address in and click submit. Okay, so now we should see an edit button here, and if we click edit, we're going to have to sign within our wallet to give us permission to edit this collection here on OpenSea. And now we have the ability to edit our contract. So if we want, we can change the image. Put my default pumpkin. We can put a featured image, a banner. We can also change the name of it here. So test pumpkins. We could change our URL if we wanted like a vanity URL. And again, guys, this is going to be more important once you guys get to the actual Ethereum mainnet. Right now we're just testing, so we can just put in whatever. We can add a category. Let's do art. We can, put in any of these things. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to skip it. The big main thing here to keep in mind is going to be your royalties. So I'm going to put like 3%. I'm going to take 3%. And then we want our payout address. Obviously, no one's buying on the test network, guys, but we're just testing everything out, showing you and doing it exactly like we would on the main network because we're not going to spend the Ethereum to do that in this video. Okay, and here we go, the blockchain, and we can choose what we want to get paid in. We can choose, how they look. And that all looks good. Let's click submit changes. Okay. And now at the top we see our logo. We didn't put a banner that would be there. We changed the name, so our new vanity name is showing up. And it looks like that logo is now showing up for our metadata since our metadata hasn't loaded in yet. Okay, since we're on the test network and this usually loads up a little bit faster, I'm starting to suspect that we have a problem. So let's go back over to Remix. From here, again, we can find the contract that we just launched, click into it, and we can now control that contract. So let's check our base URI. So right here, let's do number 1, and let's just do token URI. bit-rush/pumpkins/1.json. I'm going to copy and paste that into my browser. And it looks like it's showing up, so everything should be good. Probably just going to take a couple minutes for it to load. Last time I did this, it was almost instant, so I'll just show you guys again in a second here once everything's refreshed. While we're waiting for that, let's go ahead and mint a couple test pumpkins. So coming back to Remix, remember we have that mint function up top. I want to just click that drop down arrow, and again, let's copy our address. Paste our address in, and let's mint another pumpkin. So let's go ahead and transact. We're going to have to pay that gas fee. Again, we're on the test network, so no big deal. And there we go, successful. Now when we come back and check our wallet, we'll just give it a minute here and then refresh. And it takes a sec to load up, so while we're doing that, let's go ahead and find another address and try to mint one to a secondary address. So coming back to Remix, I've copied another address that I have in my wallet, and I'm going to paste that one in. And let's go ahead and try to mint a test pumpkin into another wallet. Again, we're going to have to pay the gas fee. Go ahead and sign that transaction. And let's wait for that transaction to be confirmed. There we go. And if we want, we can just check down here too, guys. We don't have to wait for OpenSea. We can do total supply. We can see the total supply is now 12. If we give it a couple minutes for OpenSea to catch up with the blockchain, I refresh my wallet. I can now see I have 11 pumpkins in my wallet. I'm going to check that other wallet, so let's switch our wallets. I'm going to switch back to account 1. Just make sure you're connected on this account too. Connect. And now let's check our profile on our separate account here that we just sent one to. And there we go. So it looks like I have two test leopard cats as well. I didn't even know about that. Pretty cool. That was probably from the LEP team there when they were testing out, sending them to different wallets or whatever. And here is our test pumpkin 12. So again, we can click on them and just refresh that data. And depending on how much information they have going on in their queue, it could take, you know, a couple minutes, couple hours, whatever. Like I said, last time I did it was pretty instant, but this time it seems like it's going a little bit slower. We did double check and verify all of our information is correct, so we're just going to wait and, you know, hope that everything is right. If we want now, we can also view our collection from an outside account. So this is a separate account that we didn't use to create it. We can see all that information and see all the available pumpkins here. Switching back to the wallet that we deployed the contract with, I'm going to go back to that profile. And from here, if we want, we can list a pumpkin. So let's pick a pumpkin and we can put them up for sale. 11 ETH for this pumpkin, guys. And we're going to post them. You're going to have to sign a transaction that basically says that your wallet can use this contract address on OpenSea. You're approving it. Or I guess that's the initialization of your wallet, and then here you're going to approve the token, and then finally you confirm the actual transaction. So just a couple little steps in the process. There we go. Again, we're going to confirm and pay another little fee. So again, guys, this is why we're doing everything on the test network, because these things can get pricey on the Ethereum network. You want to make sure you have all your wrinkles ironed out and, you know, everything exactly how you want it before you start paying Ethereum on the main network to launch your contract. So always do your due diligence. Make sure you do a lot of testing here on the test net. Get everything exactly how you want it to be before you start spending all that ETH. So there we go. We can view our item that we just put up for sale. We can now see test pumpkin number 11 is for sale for 11 Ethereum. Okay guys, it's been some time and my metadata still hasn't loaded, so I think it might be a problem with my server. So I went ahead and loaded it onto another server that I had on a different URL, and I'm going to go into the contract and try to change that base URI and load it from a new address. So let's go ahead and try that. So coming back into Remix here, we can see that we're still on our contract that we had previously deployed, so we can just get back into that if you want. And I already have it set up here, so set base URI. So we're going to replace the old one. I'm just going to delete that out of there. It should be blank if you haven't done this. I was messing with it, so that's why that was in there. So it should just look like this. We're going to paste our new address that we'd like to pull from. And we're going to click set base URI. We're going to have to pay a small fee again to write to the blockchain that we're changing this on our contract. And let's just wait for that to be confirmed. Very good. Now we can go back to OpenSea and refresh our metadata again and see if that's what the issue was. So back on OpenSea, let's just again click refresh. Perfect, our pumpkin is loaded. So that was the issue, guys. I think it was a problem with the SSL socket and my firewall on the other server. Again, we were using just a basic web server for hosting to show you guys the most simple example of how to do this. But if you guys are really looking to launch an art project and make some money, definitely, again, look into a better way to host on the blockchain your art files. But if you have that issue, it might just be something with your SSL. So I did it with no S on there, HTTP, at a different server that doesn't have a firewall, and it seems to be working fine. Coming down now, we can see all the properties. So this was our description we added. This is my test pumpkins. And our properties, we can now see our traits. So background, body, eyes, head, basic. And you can see when I labeled them, I had put a hyphen in between them. So if you guys have that, it's going to load exactly how you put it into the software initially. So make sure everything is right from the beginning. If you want a space, put a space and not a dash. Next, what we can do if we want is we can just search by any of these traits, right? So now that we have head top hat, we can click on the head top hat and it's going to load up our collection and load all of those ones that have a top hat. Right now it's only one. I don't know if it's because it's only one out of the 12 that we've minted has a top hat, or if it's because we haven't refreshed the metadata on the other one. So let's go in and refresh some metadata. Okay guys, some of that metadata is now loading. We can see some of our finished pumpkins here. They look good. Here's a few more that haven't loaded and some more that have. So it's just going to take a minute, go through and refresh all of them, but it looks like that was the issue with the SSL. That's everything for today's video. I'm going to call it on this one, and then we'll pick up where we left off in the next video, and we'll go in and we'll verify our smart contract. We'll build a basic front-end dApp that you guys can mint from the contract. So right now we have everything set up, the contract and the art, but we still need that front end and we need to verify. So we'll do that in the next video. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. This one took me a lot of effort and quite a bit of time. If you guys learned something, do me a favor and smash the thumbs up on this video. Share it on social media. Again, go support Hashlips. Make sure you guys are on the lookout for this pumpkin drop NFT. If you guys want to support me, the best way you can do it is by purchasing a pumpkin. Hop in the Discord or on the Telegram and try to get yourself a pre-sale, but early October we will be launching. Again, that's everything for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. Happy crypto. Let's keep getting that coin.